Okay, here it is, the long-awaited vlog. I don't know how long these things are supposed to be. I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible. Never done this before, not good at it. Kind of weird looking at myself. Not sure I quite like that. We'll get over it. Okay, outside the comfort zone, here we go. Why did I go winter camping? Because I absolutely wanted to push myself beyond anything I'd ever done before. I have camped my whole life. I've camped in the cold, but I've never camped in 12 degrees. I've never camped in weather that was below 40, actually. So absolutely exhilarating. It was purifying, just like my post, and it just really made me see how important mental toughness is, right? Because there was things I absolutely had to push through. It was cold. There was pain. My hands got so cold that they were burning and stinging at times. And, you know, you're trying to do things that you can't wear gloves. Even the liners don't help. They're too thin in that cold of weather. So just pushing past the pain, everything in me wanting to go, you know, maybe try this another time when it's a little bit warmer. Don't worry about it. And I was like, shut up. That, you know, that 7-year-old voice in your head that just tries to get you to stop because it's scary. I was okay setting up camp. I didn't know where I was going to camp. Just kind of walking. I've hiked that area many times. I love the woods back there. They're so big that the trees are so big that they keep the snow from hitting on the ground. So you could have like 2-3 feet of snow, but under these trees, there's nothing. And I just love it back there. I wish I could live back there, actually. It's beautiful. So I walked, kind of saw a place, and I was like, yeah, I think I remember there's a better place further up. And then I did find the better place, but I wanted to actually go to a different place, but it was getting dark. It was actually getting dark when I started to hike in. So I went ahead and chose this place. It was awesome. It was a great spot. There was trees perfect for the hammock. There was another tree. I don't know if this is a camping thing. You're either going to know. Hunters do this as well. If you can find a tree that has fallen to where it's just off the ground, maybe 2 feet, it's great for going to the bathroom. There, I said it. Okay. So great little area. Absolutely. Tent went up super quick. That's why I love this tent. It's a Coleman. It's literally got 2 accordion poles that are already attached. So all you have to do is, you know, put them together and pop it in one side and it just goes up. Literally like 5-minute setup or less. Super, super easy. The sleeping bag that I use is a Kelty 0 degree sleeping bag. And I sleep on this Thermarest sleeping pad. This will be going on the Appalachian Trail with me along with my sleeping bag. The tent will not. I will be using a much smaller 1-person tent for that. This sleeping pad is self-inflating and it inflates to about 1 inch. And comfort, yes, but it's mainly for insulation to keep you off the cold ground. So absolutely recommend if you ever go in colder weather to go camping. Absolutely. They have all different kinds. They have these sleeping pads that are insulated for this that you can spend up to $400 on. This lovely little thing that worked absolutely great. 12-degree weather. Remember, it's like $55 at REI. So anyway, camp went up easy. The fire was really hard to get going because it was so cold. Nothing wanted to light. Nothing. I mean, things that usually are like a candle box, right? Just go up in flames. Did not want to catch flame at all. So the fire took a long time to get started. The jet boil worked great. I had the Mountain House fettuccine and chicken, which is amazing. This is the breakfast that I have. It's from the Backpacker's Pantry. This is peanut butter banana oatmeal. These things are great for just in general, for like your bug out bag, right? So Alaska has these crazy, crazy earthquakes. We had one a few years ago, knocked out the road systems. Power was out for days. Just having something like this where you can add water and have a really good meal, absolutely essential. So you can get those for camping, hiking, hunting, and obviously your bug out bags. I'm a prepper, can't help it. I like bug out bags. I always take my first aid kit. This is actually a survival and first aid kit. So it's got like 56 pieces in it. Your light anywhere matches. It's not just got first aid, but it's got trauma, like a trauma kit in here for trauma wounds. And I did take a Stop the Bleed trauma course. I had my Camelback insulated water bag. Oops. I guess that's part of the vlog that you're not prepared for, right? This thing is amazing. This is where the water usually freezes, is in the hose. So the whole bag is insulated and the hose is insulated as well. Now, normally as I'm out hiking and whatnot, in really cold weather, I will take a drink of water, whether I want it or not, every 5 to 10 minutes just to keep the water circulating out of the hose so it doesn't have a chance to freeze. But this worked great until I was setting up camp and I hung it on a tree. It froze. It froze. So what I had to do is I had to put it inside the sleeping bag with me to thaw it out. Now, I don't like being cold. I absolutely hate it. Hate it. And I'm cold most of the time. Even at the gym, I'm wearing a down coat sometimes because I run cold. So I usually have hand warmers in my gloves at all times. I have toe warmers on my feet at all times. And I had to put that bag in my sleeping bag with me. And it was cold. But that is what happens when you're out doing stuff like this. You literally, something happens like in your mind, like clarity, and you just know that you have to do what you have to do. I've only experienced this one other time, and it was on a hike with my best friend Chandra. And it was a night hike, and we had gone up to watch the moon because it was a full moon and it was a beautiful, beautiful night. And clouds came out of nowhere and the moon disappeared, and it was so dark. And we had already got to the very, very top. And the last part of this mountain, I'm not kidding you, is like this. And you're like digging in with your hands and your feet, and you're climbing up. So we made it up okay, and the moon was out and it was beautiful, and we're just hanging out. And all of a sudden the moon disappears and it is so dark. So dark. Headlamp didn't work. All we had was a flashlight. So I'm literally have this flashlight in my mouth, and I know we have to get off this mountain. And I'm freaking out, like freaking out, because this part is so steep, and if you can't see and you miss a step, you're gone. You're absolutely gone. You're gone. So I start to kind of panic and freeze, like not move, freeze. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get off this mountain. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't get down. I'm going to have to call for help. I happen to look over and I see Chandra sitting on this rock. And she's got this look on her face like, we're going to die. And something switched in me. And all I heard in my head was, I have to get us off this mountain. And something just shifted in my head. And I've never been the same since then. It was awesome. But it shifted, and I was like, I have to get us off this mountain. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. So I put this flashlight in my mouth, and I started going down backwards. So I would look under this arm, down at the foot placing where we had made foot coming up, and I would place my foot in it, and then I would have to look over this way and find the foot and put my foot in it and go down, and then just do the same thing, looking underneath my armpit to go down. And I would go down about 8 feet, and then I would take the light and I would shine it on the ground, and I would guide Chandra down. Okay, right foot down to the left 2 inches, there. Left foot, and I had to guide her all the way down to me, and then I would go and then guide her down, and then I would go and then guide her down. That's how we came down the whole entire face of that upper part of that mountain. And it was life-changing. I'm not gonna lie. It was terrifying. It was the most terrifying experience I've ever had on a mountain, hands down, ever, because the potential for death was so high. Now you have to think, if Chandra was in front of me and she would have slipped, there's a choice to be made. Do you attempt to save your friend and take a chance on you going with her and you both going? Which I would have done. I just would have. That's who I am. Or do you get out of the way and just let them go, right? So what do you do? So just the whole thing. So anyway, back to camping, sleeping with this cold water bag. My hands were freezing. I woke up in the morning. It was a rough night. It was like waking up. It felt like every 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe it would go 40 minutes, but I was constantly waking up, just tossing and turning. I was warm from like my shoulders down. I actually was really warm. It was my nose. My nose was so cold. Just from breathing in all that cold air. Oh my God, my nose was froze. And I remember at one point being just really groggy, and I still had the hand warmers in my pockets on my one piece thing that I was wearing. And I remember taking one of those out and putting it on my nose and falling asleep. But of course, then you fall asleep and your hand falls and it falls off, and then you wake up and your nose is cold again. It was the strangest thing. I felt like my nose was like gonna fall off. It was so frozen just from breathing in the cold air. I don't like sleeping with my face covered up. So could I have put my face inside my sleeping bag? Yes. But when I would do that, I would get overcome with just, ugh. So that's me. All right. In the morning, I did not want to get out of that sleeping bag. I was already starting to get cold. My hands were okay. Everything was okay. But my feet had gotten cold and about halfway up to my knee. And you have to get out of that warm sleeping bag, the only warmth that you have, into 12-degree weather. Your boots are cold. The stuff that you have to put on is cold. I had most of my stuff that I could fit in my sleeping bag with me. So I literally would sit up and stay in my sleeping bag, and I would start packing my pack, and then my hands would get really cold, even with just liners on. And I'd have to put my hands between my legs and try to warm them up, and then do a little bit more, and then warm my hands back up, do a little bit more, warm my hands back up. And then I had to get out of the tent. Oh, and rolling up a sleeping bag and that sleeping pad, brutal on the hands, brutal. So now I'm shivering, and I've got everything packed up. I'm getting there, and I have to take the tent down. It was covered with snow because a snowstorm had come in, and it was still dark. So even though it was like 8 in the morning, I think, it's still dark in Alaska. The sun doesn't come up till 10:30, 11 o'clock still. So it was still dark. It's snowing. I'm freezing. I just wanted to get out of there. And then the mind starts going again. Just leave everything here. You can come back later when you're warm. I'm like, no, you're not going to do this. You're going to follow this all the way through. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. But I made it out. Would I do it again? Absolutely, hands down. I want to. I want to take people with me out there to do it. There are things that I would do different. Absolutely. I don't think I would take any different gear. My gear was great. The sleeping bag was perfect. It worked like a charm in 12-degree weather. The sleeping pad, the tent, everything was great. Now they do have a tent insulation that I would probably consider getting for sure. But I wouldn't change anything. And if you are a reader or you like audiobooks, I know I keep plugging this book, but you've got to. It's called The Comfort Crisis. And it's basically about how we are so used to comfort that we're not hard, we're not tough anymore. And I highly recommend it. There's things on there that challenged me. There were things that made me kind of go, what? That guy's crazy. And then the more you think about it, you're like, holy cow, that's true. And how we are in today's society, people who can't stand being bored. But we don't allow ourselves to get bored anymore because we have these phones, which is what I'm using right now. But these electronics, they're taking away our creativity. They're taking away our time. They're taking away our adventurous spirit. They're taking away so much. Now, for some of us, right, these are tools. This phone is a tool because here I am doing a vlog, and I use it to take pictures and videos of all my adventures. But for most people, now you think about it, if you're a hiker and you're an outdoor person like myself, which most of you of my followers are, we're like the top 1%. Think about that. 99% of the people do not do what we do. They stay in their house. They stay in their comfort zone. They don't want to go outside. They don't want to get wet. They don't want to get cold. They don't want to get dirty. It was cold, it was painful, but it was life-changing, exhilarating, and I can't wait to do it again. I know I send invites to all of you guys when you reach out to me to come on up to Alaska. I'll take you out, hands down. It's not a joke. I absolutely will. So anyway, there's the vlog. I'm sitting in front of the window, so the daylight's going down. So you've seen like what had his light in the background is now gone because the sun is setting right over there. But anyway, yeah, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments or DM me. I would love to answer them. I had a really great time, and it was really cold. I just can't get over how cold it was. But I'm so proud of myself that I did it. It increased my capacity for the things that I could handle. It increased my mental toughness. It increased my fortitude. If you would have told me 3 years ago, and 3 years is not very long, right? You would have told me 3 years ago that I would have been hiking and camping in 12-degree weather, I would have told you were absolutely nuts. There's no way. And people who know me and have like grown with me would tell you the same thing. They cannot believe that I am doing what I did. And I'm going to do it again for sure. And I can't wait to hit the Appalachian Trail. I think for me, doing this in such extreme things, it's going to make the Appalachian Trail a little bit easier comfort-wise. It's like with anything. They say if you learn to scuba dive in Alaska, you can scuba dive anywhere. I learned to scuba dive. If you can drive truck in Alaska, you can drive truck anywhere. I got my CDL and learned to drive truck. So a lot of things with Alaska, it's so extreme that it makes doing the same thing in other places a little bit easier. So that's what the goal is, right? But Comfort Crisis is the book. Get it, read it, Audible, hard back or on your Kindle, whatever it is. Comfort Crisis, Michael Easter, change your life, swear to God.